Every year, you quietly promise yourself this one will be different. New habits, new discipline, new identity. You don't just set goals, you try to restart your entire life. And for a few weeks, it almost feels possible. Then something fades. Not your intelligence, not your ambition, something deeper. And by the end of the year, you're back where you started. But here's the question that lingers. Why do you keep needing a fresh start at all? You don't just want improvement, you want reinvention. You delete old photos, you reorganize your room, you unfollow people, you write new rules in a notebook. You feel a quiet surge of clarity. This is it. But daily life returns. Deadlines, messages, fatigue, old environments. And slowly, the version of you that felt new begins to dissolve. You start negotiating with yourself. I'll restart next month. I need a better plan. Maybe I'm just inconsistent. Over time, this pattern starts shaping your identity. You don't see yourself as stable. You see yourself as someone who tries hard but resets often. Psychology calls this the fresh start effect, a term popularized by researchers like Katy Milkman. Certain dates, New Year's, birthdays, Mondays, create psychological temporal landmarks. They make your past self feel separate from your present self, like chapters in a book. But there's something else happening underneath. Something about how your brain handles identity and change. And that's where the real story begins. You are not weak for restarting. You are not undisciplined. Your brain is trying to protect you. Every yearly reset is an attempt to reduce internal tension. When your current behavior doesn't match your ideal self, your brain experiences cognitive dissonance, a discomfort studied extensively by Leon Festinger. That discomfort demands relief. There are two ways to reduce it: lower the ideal or attempt transformation. You choose transformation over and over. Restarting your life is not a failure pattern, it's an adaptation. But it's incomplete because the brain doesn't change identity the way you think it does. And this is where most people misunderstand themselves. Your brain does not operate on yearly resolutions. It operates on neural wiring. Habits are stored in circuits deep in the brain, especially within the basal ganglia. These circuits automate behavior. They conserve energy. When you attempt a full restart, you're relying heavily on the prefrontal cortex, the rational planning part of your brain. That system is powerful, but it's energy expensive. Think of it like a flashlight: bright, focused, but battery dependent. Your habit system is more like a river. It flows in the direction it has flowed before. When you declare "New Year, New Me," you're shining a flashlight at the river and hoping it changes direction. For a few weeks, willpower redirects it, but the old channel is still carved deep. This is where neuroscientist Wendy Wood explains something crucial. Most behavior is context-driven, not intention-driven. You don't wake up and choose your habits every day. Your environment cues them automatically. Same room, same phone, same people, same emotional triggers. Same neural pathways activate. So when you restart your life without changing context, your brain quietly returns to efficiency. It chooses the familiar path, not because you lack discipline, but because your nervous system prefers predictability. And there's one more layer: identity. According to research on identity-based habits, behavior sticks when it aligns with who you believe you are. If deep down you still see yourself as someone who always restarts, your brain protects that identity because identity feels safer than uncertainty. So the real issue isn't motivation, it's the gap between intention, environment, and identity. And that gap has a structure, which means it can be understood and adjusted, but not through another dramatic reset. Instead of restarting your life, You adjust the current. Here's how. 1. Shrink the identity shift. What to do? Stop declaring a new version of yourself. Choose one micro-identity instead. Not "I'm a new person," but "I am someone who reads one page daily." Why it works? The brain resists large identity threats. Massive change triggers uncertainty, which activates threat detection systems. Small identity shifts feel safe. Safe changes are repeatable. Example, instead of "this year I become disciplined," you say "I close my laptop at 11 p.m." One behavior, repeated. 2. Change one context cue. What to do? Modify your environment before modifying yourself. Move the phone charger, change desk position, alter lighting. Why it works? Habits are cue dependent. When context shifts, old neural loops weaken. You interrupt the automatic trigger response cycle. Example, if you always scroll in bed, charge your phone outside the bedroom. Now the cue is gone. The river hesitates, and hesitation is power. 3. Reduce decision fatigue. What to do? Pre-decide behaviors. Not daily motivation, but rules. Why it works? The prefrontal cortex fatigues quickly. When tired, you default to habits. Rules conserve mental energy. They reduce negotiation. Example, instead of asking, "Should I work out today?" your rule is, "I stretch for 5 minutes after brushing my teeth." No debate, less friction. 4. Track stability, not intensity. What to do? Measure consistency over excitement. Ask, "Did I repeat the behavior?" Not, "Did I feel motivated?" Because dopamine spikes in novelty, but sustainable change relies on repetition. When you chase intensity, you burn out. When you chase stability, circuits strengthen. Example, you write 100 words daily, not 2,000 on one inspired night. Small repetitions carve new neural channels, like water shaping stone. 5. Stop using time as a reset button. What to do? Remove the emotional meaning from dates. Treat January 1st like January 12th. Treat Monday like Wednesday. Why it works? Temporal landmarks create artificial psychological distance. You think your past self failed, but your brain doesn't recognize chapters. It recognizes patterns. When you stop dramatizing time, you reduce identity rupture. You stay continuous. Example, if you skip a week, you don't say, "I'll restart next month." You continue the next day. No ceremony, no narrative, just continuity. Integration. Here's the model to remember. You don't restart your life, you redirect a river. Flashlights fade, rivers reshape slowly. Each year you tried to replace the river, but real change is carving new channels within the same landscape. You are not beginning from zero every January. You are standing in the same terrain, with slightly deeper grooves. If you stop tearing down your identity every year and instead adjust it quietly, the restarts will become unnecessary because nothing is being destroyed anymore. It's being refined. You restart your life every year because you care, because you feel the gap between who you are and who you could be. That tension is not weakness, it's awareness. But awareness doesn't need drama, it needs direction. Not a new self, just a slightly redirected current. So this year, don't announce a reinvention. Don't wait for a perfect date. Just change one cue, one behavior, one quiet decision, and let the river do the rest.